everyone, this is Nikki from the design team here today with a fun card. We're going to be looking at creating a realistic beach scene with some markers, some die cuts, and some fun mixed media products. So I hope that you will stick with me. We're going to use two sets from Kat Scrappiness. This A2 Waterside die is going to be the main part, and then we're going to use some of the condensed lowercase alphabet, just the H and the I. So make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button on this channel. Whenever I do a inlaid die cutting, I usually add a piece of adhesive that's double-sided on the back of what I'm going to cut. And this paper is a special paper for Copics because we're going to use Copic coloring, so we're using the Express It Blend It paper. And then I'm going to cut these pieces out and try to keep them together as much as possible. So I'm going to tape down my die to make sure, and then we'll get started. I will list the Kat Scrappiness products in the description, so you can click on those if you're going to buy anything. Today we'll start with the sand. So I've picked out my two pieces that are sand, and I'm going to do a type of coloring that is very quick and easy. It almost is like stripes. So I've seen, I don't know who does this, but I've seen this type, and I feel like it looks really good with sand and waves. It's almost just like there's layers of this, and it's very free and easy just to create these long strokes. So that's what type of coloring I'm gonna do. I'm starting out with E11, and then I'm gonna add in some E33. Sorry, I forgot to put my caps down for you to see. For my darkest color, I'm using E13, and you'll see that I'm just doing these brush strokes. I'm trying to keep it in a line so it just gives that, I don't know, effortless sand look. I just love how this looks. I don't know why I love it so much, but I feel like it's fast, it's easy, and you can really create some cool looks. Okay, so here's how those two areas of sand look. Now we're gonna add our white spray, okay? So this to me is, it's called Altenew Embossing Paste, and it is just kind of a thick, almost spongy white. And I just decided, I mean, you could try to get real fancy and use some kind of tool to do this, but I thought it gave a better wave foam look if I was doing it with my fingers. I'm doing it all along the edges, and I've just got it on my finger, and I'm kind of patting it how I want that to look. And I'm going to do this on the waves so that they look like they have the white caps on the waves. And if you mess up a little bit, just add a little bit more. You know, the foam from waves goes everywhere, and I know this very well since I just got to go to the beach recently. So I really did study the waves in the sand just because they're mesmerizing. And so this is just my impression of how that works. So here's how that looks. Now I'm going to go color the waves. Okay, so the same for the waves. I wanted to make everything very linear and kind of following the same pattern. So I started with some green in the center, and I guess you'd call that teal. It's BG49, and I'm going to pop up a slide with all four of these colors, but it's BG49, B28, B04, and B18 is the combination. So I'm going to skip ahead on this, but I wanted to show you that that top piece is still connected. So it's made where the skyline still connects with the water right there. It probably would have been a good idea to cut that apart, but I just kind of spread them apart and go very carefully along that line because that's obviously going to be a lighter color since it's the sky. Okay, so the sky I did B12 and a little bit of B04, I believe, or maybe even B00, just something to make it a lighter blue. Now I'm going through with that Altenew embossing paste again, and I'm adding it to the edges of each of these, but I'm also going to kind of go in the middle because this die makes other wavy lines. I don't know if you can see those or not. It's really hard to see them, but it's right under my finger right now. There's another little cutout line. It doesn't cut the piece completely, but it makes a nice indentation or embossed area. So I'm going to also add some white along those because those would have little white tips as well. So just patting this on, adding however much I feel like doing, and continuing on with that and on my finger. So I didn't use any other instrument besides my finger. Of course, it makes a little bit of a mess, so you'll have to clean it up. And then I would also suggest allowing this to dry. So you're going to see that I want to cut an inlaid die cutting area that says hi on this piece. I just thought that looked really cool and didn't take away from all the work that I did on the landscape look of this. So I'm going to do that, but I need to let my embossing paste dry first. Otherwise it will stick and just kind of mess up my cutting plates. Okay, so let's skip ahead. You see, I'm just using a little bit on my finger and creating some more definition. And this could look messy. You could do anything you want. I just kind of tapped it on where I thought there should be a little bit more white just to give it more definition. And then I decided, you know what, it would look really cool as little clouds in the sky. So I decided to put a couple basically fingerprint clouds up there, and I thought those looked really cute. So the only things left to color on this are the tree and the sun. I want to show you something on this tree. One, just to give it more definition if you want to, but also there's this little triangle piece right under my marker right now that has partial waves and partial skyline. So I would not color that until you put it back in its puzzle piece and look at where that hits to make it look right. So I'm going to just do a base layer of this YG13, sorry, and then I'm coming in with YG17, adding some more color, and then I will use my YG67 to create some lines so you can actually kind of see the palm fronds. So I love doing this on palm trees and just in general on leaves. It just gives them a little bit more definition, and I think it just makes your overall piece look really cute. So here's the added definition. I'm just going to go through and make the veining on the actual leaves, which I think looks really cute. I'm going to do something similar to this on the bark as well. It just, to me, in my eye, it just gives it that extra exciting thing that really looks amazing. So even doing some veining out from the palm fronds. So for the trunk of this, I'm doing E23. That's the hazelnut, that's its base color. And then I'm going to come in with some darker colors and create some lines around this tree. I don't know if you think about it, but when I think about trying to recreate the bark of a palm tree, I feel like just doing some concentric, I don't know if that's the right word, some kind of almost like circular areas really looks good on it. And so if you can see here, I'm using E25 to add some, and then I usually come in and do one more darker shade. So this shade is E27. Okay, remember when I told you need to watch this little triangle piece? See how only part of it dips down to where the water is? So you want to just make sure you color that correctly, or it's just going to make it look not quite symmetrical. Okay, so last thing to color is the sun, and I'm going to pop up the colors for you, but it's a quick and easy. I did make a little bit of orange with the YR14 kind of down towards the bottom of the sun just to give it a little bit of definition, but that's really about it with this. So I'm going to move on and show you how we did the inlaid die cutting. Now we've got to assemble our pieces, so I've gone on and put the frame down, and remember I have double-sided adhesive on these. You could use glue if you wanted to, but the double-sided adhesive makes this pretty easy, and I've given this time to dry. So we've got dry embossing paste, and anywhere that this doesn't work or you don't get enough stick, maybe you were a little off on your adhesive, you can always use some glue, or you could just use glue, but I just like the ease of sticking things together with this double-sided adhesive. Okay, and here it is all put together, making sure everything is stuck down, and I added a little glue if I needed to, but I think it looks awesome. Let's die cut our sentiment out of it, and we'll pop it up on some foam tape. All right, so you want to line these up. I did use a T-ruler to make sure that they were straight. I don't see any other way to cut these out unless you just have, you are just an expert die cutter. My plates are always slightly warped, so I go on and use some low tack tape to hold this down because I don't want to mess up my whole project. So I'm going to use some low tack post-it tape, and I'm going to hold these pieces down once I've got them where I want and run it through the die cutter. Okay, now with the letters out, we're going to need a backer for this. So I'm going to put some paper behind it, and then we're going to put some foam tape on our letters and lift them up a little bit just to give them some extra dimension. I'm going to need some skinny foam strips, and I decided to choose ones that aren't super tall, but you need to make sure that they fit inside your letters. So I'm going to add these to my letters and put them in this little place that I've made for them right here, this cutout, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so I just love it. I love the color. I love the subtleness of the high. I just am excited about this card. I hope that you guys liked it as much as I did. Make sure that you go through the links in the description if you're going to purchase anything today. That does help me out. And make sure to subscribe to Kat Scrappiness and my channel. Have a great day, guys. Bye.